From the center of the galaxy, this is ForceCenter, show about Star Wars, pop culture, and the ultimate adventure, life itself. This is our series, Subjective Wars. Hey friends, I'm Ken Napzok.
And I am Jennifer Landa.
And what we are here to do today is to take two things we love, pit them against each other, and decide which one, subjectively, is the better of the two. It's really hard, but it's also done with a lot of fun. Joseph Scrimshaw is out today, still experiencing life on a wonderful vacation and rest in Norway, beautiful Norway. So, Jen, it's up to you and I to decide between two things. And I picked this topic because I know you love both.
Yeah.
And I wanted to hurt you.
Yeah.
Chalmun Spaceport Cantina versus what is formerly known as Jabba's palace, but currently in canon is Boba Fett's palace. So, where are you starting with this?
I am troubled by that. It will forever be Jabba's palace, and I like the Book of Boba Fett, but I don't like that, formerly known as Jabba's. Will always be Jabba's. But I'm really torn. At first, I thought, I'll pick no. When I really started going down the list in my mind, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how you're going to do it.
I have a great affinity for Jabba's palace, and I agree with you. Look, hey, we always love to update with the current names and the current part of the Star Wars story. If it's Boba Fett's starship or the Fire Sprite, that's what we're going to call it. But today, just based off our original trilogy upbringing, it's Jabba's palace versus the Cantina. I don't think I referred to it as the Chalmun Spaceport Cantina until about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Where I have an affinity for Jabba's palace because that was the first steps I truly took into Star Wars. It terrified me. The Rancor absolutely just was a horror show for me as a youngster. It was everything the Cantina was in 77 to folks. For me in 83, it was this amazing, crazy, scary world. If you took one step and upset Jabba, through a chute you went to your death. I was terrified by the prospects, but I loved it because I felt I was in a larger world. So my heart starts with Jabba's palace, at least at the beginning.
That's where my heart goes too, I think, because it was my first Return of the Jedi was my introduction to Star Wars. And I always loved the music and the dancing aspect of it. I was a kid who loved music and dance. So for me, I'm like, this is a place where I would feel right at home, which is a little frightening. I don't know what that says. But I loved just how he had these pillows. It looked like it was kind of a comfy, cozy vibe, even though, yes, there was a pit of death and a terrifying Rancor blow.
I was always fascinated by... when Han is broken out of the carbonite, and then there's the laugh of Jabba, but the curtain opens, and even as a kid, I was like, are they all just sleeping up there? Is it a party on Jabba's throne?
Yes, this is exactly it. Exactly it. I just love that. It is a slumber party vibe. I mean, and Salacious is there. It's just it's a fun time.
So, your subjective wars is normally, fought between three combatants, so we can have a deciding vote. So we're both kind of leaning towards Jabba's palace. So to turn to devil's advocate to ourselves here, looking over the Cantina, it's historic. You did a wonderful look at it at your Jedi Beats, both podcast episode from a few years ago and the video version we just released this past year. It's historic. It is setting the template for a lot of things in Star Wars. But would it be would it have a greater appeal to you, Jen, if there was someone's just slow dancing by themselves, drunk in the corner? Would that be the dancing that you need?
I mean, this is where I get torn because I think that the drinks in Chalmun's Cantina, Spaceport, whatever, I think they'd be good, right? They look fun. Everyone's having a fun time. It's a place where you could meet up with friends. It's a place where you could be seen or not, right? You can just kind of blend into the shadows if you really want to. They too have great music at the Spaceport.
That's true.
A little bit of jazz vibe. So, the only thing about we have the bartender or her, that would be kind of annoying to deal with his kind of cantankerous attitude to get a drink. I don't know if I'd like that.
He's more terrifying than the Rancor to me at times in my life. Joseph and I have both shared that from different parts of the country. We grew up, and when we finally became friends, we both were a little terrified of bartenders because of Wuher. Like we both were like, "Oh, we can't. You don't mess up at a bar."
Mm-mm. Isn't it the worst feeling when you're trying to order a drink and you're like, oh, they're doing things, they're
Yeah.
busy. But here, this is like, he could really, I don't know,
Yeah.
life or death situation
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah. Now you're applying a lot of joy. You're making the Cantina the center of town, the place to be seen. This is
Yeah.
the where you go. Garza's Sanctuary has a little bit of that vibe later on, which is we could easily have a three-way battle between Garza's and these two spots, but there's a little bit darker, danker feeling to the Cantina, which is part of the appeal, right? Are you
Yes.
drawn into the danger of either of these places? Does it add to the reason you'd want to go?
The danger is really why I think I lean more towards one or the other. I feel like in Jabba's palace, it's like a comedy show where I'm sitting in the front row, and I know that at any moment I could become a target.
Crowd work. Jabba's doing crowd work.
Exactly. I mean, because
Yeah.
it does feel like a dinner show when you're there, right? It's like a dinner show, and maybe somebody gets killed in the process. So I
Yeah.
feel like I would be more concerned about losing my life in Jabba's palace.
Mm,
Whereas if I just put my head down and don't get into any bar fights in the cantina, I'm good. I'm going to walk out
good.
alive. So that's
Mm.
where I give it to the cantina.
Okay, yeah, the canteen is a little safer.
A little
That's
safer.
yeah. This is a great metric, as we always say here on Subjective Wars. Our metrics kind of emerge during the conversations. Which one is safer? Even though we see death in both, if you keep to yourself in the cantina, you're right. I think there's a little bit of a better opportunity. No one wants to be seen. And look, it's an old space wizard coming in and protecting the farm boy. Like that's not going to happen every day.
No, it's unusual. You can tell by everyone's faces. They're like, oh, "What is going on? We don't see this here." Maybe there are bar fights, but not losing limbs.
Not losing limbs. And then Han does, shoot wherever you feel he shoots at Greedo, first,
right.
last, or the middle. But at least he offers to pay for it there. But that seemed more normal
Yes.
than the Space Wizard laser sword.
And there again, there's beef between the two of them, right? Like I have no beef with them, so I know that I'm going to be okay. The other thing that I think about is the vibe of the place, right? So like
Okay.
the canteen is more like a dive bar, as we said, and Jabba's is
Sure.
more like a dinner show. So I think about the bands. I mean, can we dissect the
Yep.
bands? Because we have the Bith band,
We got
figuring
some
down on the modal
Jizz
nodes.
Yep.
Yes.
Modal
And then
nodes.
we have the Max Rebo band.
Now, and people are going to want to clarify,
Okay, yeah.
are we going? I think it's okay to include Joe Yauza in
No.
the full band. Even though that Jedi Rocks is still today, it is my least favorite sequence in Star Wars. People are always like, Ken, you're so positive about Star Wars. Is there one thing you don't like? I've come to appreciate Joe Yauza. I do like him a little bit, but yeah, it's still not my favorite. But all right. So are you going classic? You just going classic?
If you put Joe Yauza on the table, I have to give it to the Cantina. I cannot.
Just automatically.
Cannot reward that Yuzum. I can't do it.
Okay,
It's
that's
so
fair.
bad.
What about the big gong though? The big that's pretty cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's pretty epic.
Okay.
Yeah. But
But
just
okay,
like,
you're going
no.
classic. You going Max Rebo. You got
Size
Droopy
Noodles.
McCool, Size Noodles. Okay,
yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah. Now that's a song. That's a song.
I agree with it. I agree with
I don't
that.
know.
So you got some classic jazz, some Jizz wailing with the figuring Dan and the modal nodes. You got Max Rebo. This is I think even at one point on Jedi Alliance, this was one of the first things Maud and I debated on Duel of the Fates. The segment we did is these two together, and many shows have done it. As we have always said, this is just our take on the concept here. I think I'd lean towards the modal nodes because I don't have to participate.
Oh.
It's music. Like I love watching a good live performance, but if I just want to sit there and talk with my friends and share a drink and avoid getting shot, they're background music. Where I feel you're at a show with Cy Snoodles and you have to be there. And I like Cy. I really like the band, but I feel it's a different vibe.
It's a cabaret show, and I've been
Right.
to one many years ago, and it was awkward. It was a very small space, kind of similar to Jabba's palace, and I did feel like I had to participate, and the singer was kind of slinking around. It just felt uncomfortable. So
You can't get business done there. You can get a ticket to the show,
right,
but you can't get business done.
You can't. And we see characters in the cantina getting down to business. So, yeah. Point
In
for the
more ways than
cantina.
one. We don't know. We don't know what's going on in those corners.
More ways than one.
All right, so we got music. You and I are both leaning then towards the cantina for music.
Yep.
And safety.
And safety.
Then Cantina's starting to emerge. Taking it outside of the story, I was thinking about legacy. It's hard to beat the Cantina on legacy, but there's something to be said about the Palace doing it a little better. And this is before the special editions, before George had a chance to go back and repair some of the things that didn't work for him, which I'm fine with overall. We can have that discussion. But I think he was like, let's go back. Let's do it as best as we can in 1983. And I think they succeed. The Palace is just exploding with great designs and characters.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all of it felt like it was a palace, and there were all these different areas of the palace where you could get lost in or experience more danger. And also there's something kind of fun about the fact that Jabba wants to continue partying. He's all about the after party, right? Where he wants to take you on his sail barge, and we'll keep putting some back. So I do like that element of it.
You bring it up. I don't know if it's a side point. I don't know if it's a point for Jabba's palace. And I will look at Boba Fett. I'm with you too. You and I are probably, along with Joseph, are not just defenders of the Book of Boba Fett series because we want to or need to defend it, but I legitimately enjoy so much of that series. It has some of my favorite moments in Star Wars. It really does. It really, really, really does. But I like that Jabba, as terrifying as he is, he enjoys a good party, and like you said, it continues. And we're not the sail barge is not necessarily in this debate, but I like that Jabba's like, hey, I am oppressing and ruling this part of the galaxy with my thumbs, so to speak. But we're gonna have fun doing it. Where Boba Fett brings a lot of equity, he helps the community, he strengthens things, but we don't see him party yet. Maybe he corrects that, but Jabba knows how to throw a party.
He has a chef. He has, his little minion, the cute little Kowakian monkey lizard. He's got guards. Like, it's going to be a good time. Whereas the cantina, you're kind of on your own there. And so
you bring the party.
You bring the party, exactly.
Okay.
Or not. I guess you could alien watch or people watch.
You could. Yeah. Jabba's sail barge is a party van. That's really all it is. It's a party van. Yeah. We're going to go execute some people. It's a party. Come on. Let's celebrate my power. Let's celebrate my influence. Let's celebrate what I can do. And if I'm in the Star Wars underworld, I think I want to go hang out. I want to get on Jabba's good side more than just, I've already said, Cantina's a little safer to go to. I like the music, get some work done. But I'm getting work done to maybe get a job to get on the good graces of Jabba.
Networking, yes, I like it,
and you network to get there. If Jabba is running a comedy show, that's the club I want to get to.
Right. I mean, that's where I have to put myself in another person's shoes, right? If I am like part of the underworld, where would I want to go? Yeah, I would want to go to Jabba's palace, and like you're saying, hobnob, make some connections, maybe get some bounty hunting jobs. But at the cantina, I don't feel like it feels like everyone kind of keeps to themselves, and maybe they're even a little bit cliquish, dare I say?
Oh, there's some cliques going on. You got Pelimoto, who spends some good time in the cantina. Like I think she breaks through the cliques just with her own will and sheer personality. Where like got Toro Calican, who shows he's there later on with a more depressed version of the cantina. Yeah. But I think there's some cliques you got to get through. Yeah, and then the Tonica sisters show up, and then it's a mess. They're their own clique. I can't get through them.
So maybe it's not quite as welcoming as I thought it was. I mean, they don't even let droids in there, right? So it's like how welcoming is it?
That's the other metric we got going on here. We have one place that at that time, we know there's a version where there are droids there. In fact, they're the bartenders. But in the classic sense, the cantina droids are not allowed, where in Jabba's palace, they're tortured and enslaved.
And also the ones doing the torturing as well. So,
It's a complicated world.
It's complicated. Yeah.
88.
I don't know.
That poor little gong droid. That gong droid getting his feet sort of burned I don't know if they touch. That was like Return of the Jedi. I'm surprised I loved it so much because there's some big trauma points. Nanta, we talked about our news episode this past week. Nanta's death on the Battle of Endor, the Rancor terrifying me, and that poor Gong Chor getting tortured.
I don't know what it says about maybe our generation, but when I took my kids to see it, they were a little, I don't want to say traumatized, but they had questions about a lot of things, include, where's Ula? Why is she not wearing any clothes? Where does is she dead? I'm like, yeah, right. Where's Leia? Why is Leia doing that? No. A lot of questions.
Well, that's good. As future generations questioning things a little bit more. Yeah, what man? All right, so I'm still leaning towards Jabba's palace being my favorite of these two locations. Again, it's two classic locations, but Jen, it's almost not fair. The palace has got so many places to go inside of it. Battlefront 2, the Jabba's palace map's one of my favorites because you get to explore. He has a bath, he has a hookah room, he has like a big banquet hall going on. There's a lot going on. The Cantina probably has a back room where Chalmun counts his money. Like, I don't know. A supply closet.
A supply closet. But here's where I argue is what have we seen more in popular culture? What do we have in Scum and Villainy, right? Is basically the
Cantina, right?
Yeah, the Cantina.
The bar here in LA.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if it's just because it came first or if maybe there's some like negative connotations for Jabba's palace because, Jabba's there and a lot of death happens.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
a lot of death and oppression. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a great place. But I feel like the Cantina in that sense kind of wins just because it's just more in popular culture.
More popular. Yeah. Look, and it's that Star Wars space bar.
Yeah.
It's first out of the gate, and sometimes you don't necessarily have to be the greatest. You just have to be first, establish a lot of things that come after, and everything gets compared to it, not just in Star Wars, but in other things. It was parodied, right? Saturday Night Live, Nick the Lounge Singer, all that kind of stuff. Even on Richard Pryor's short-lived sketch show, the 70s, he did a version of the Star Wars bar. So it's set the template for crazy, wild, weird place that's normal in our galaxy. But where all the crazy aliens go. And Jabba's, like I said, Jabba's the bigger, better version of it. I think it expanded it. I think George got to more of his vision, though with the special editions we see, he just wanted a big, giant gong to be part of the musical number. That's my only thing. So if I get one question, if I get two questions with George. First, maybe something else. What's your favorite Sbarro meal? Second is Jedi Rocks.
Oh, Jedi Rocks. You know what I think could have elevated the scene is maybe seeing some people at a bar because I've got to assume that there's like a bartender somewhere in the palace.
In Jabba's palace? Ooh, that's a great question.
Right? Like if we'd seen some people just like at a small little bar or something, I think that would have pushed me over.
Do you think there's servers? Do you think because people have got food and drink?
Yeah, and I'm sure that
some droid servers.
Probably. Yeah, probably droid servers or dancers.
Yeah, could be. I'd like to see maybe a back bar. You go, like the comics bar in the back, the comedy store, something like that.
Yes.
Where maybe you got Squid Face saying, "All right, what are you drinking? What are you drinking? Next round's on me," and he disappears in the back, comes back with some drinks.
Yes, I love that.
But for the most part, I think it's astromech droids.
Probably it's for safety for everyone.
Yeah.
The next thing I will say is for comfort because I'm all about comfort.
Okay.
And there is something comforting about Jabba's palace. It feels like there's a lot like in terms of like textiles, like velvets and the pillows, like I said, and it just feels slightly cozier as opposed to the bar booths in the Cantina, which don't look comfortable. They have those little stools, like it just doesn't feel cozy in any way. Like I wouldn't hang out there for hours.
Well, it's hard to I'm just going off my experience at the Scum and Villainy Cantina in Hollywood where you have those little booths and if you're in the middle, you're stuck. You can't get up, go to the bathroom. You can't get to order some more tater tots. Right. Everyone has to crawl out.
Right.
And even where Han and Chewie are, the tiny little table, it's not as, you're right. It's not as comfortable.
No.
It's not made for a party. Now, Jabba's palace, as we know, was a the Bomar monks. It was a monastery.
Mm.
So any of the comforts built into it are maybe of a different, the intention was different. But it's an underrated aspect, what you're getting at here, Jen. Jabba showed up and was like, this place, or the huts before, right? Or no, was Jabba first in there? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
But whoever the Hutt clan shows up is like, this needs more pillows, curtains, and parties.
They know how to decorate. I mean, honestly, like it's all about the throw pillows. It's about being cozy. I could even see like giant floor pillows so that people could lounge. As we mentioned, it's like a slumber party. People are hanging out there, sleeping together. So you got to have some place to sleep, right? They're not just sleeping on the floor.
Yeah,
so
no.
A point there for me, for Jabba's palace is, comfort.
And we do see, look, Book of Boba Fett does take us into the kitchen with the chef droids.
Mm-hmm.
We know there's some infrastructure there that they've put into place, but all for that false sense of comfort. It is a false sense of comfort, right? Because as we established, one false move, Jabba's got you, and it's opulence. It is look at me. It is serve me. Look at my grandeur. So we know it's a lie. But if you're in on the lie and you're not stepping out of line, it's still probably the place to be.
I'm thinking of that. So what was that? The Salacious B. Crumb comic? Am I remembering that correctly? Wasn't there a comic? Was there a story?
That's just about Salacious. There's a story in the Legends of Luke Skywalker. I think Ken Liu wrote that, where the tick, you talk about the little hair tick?
No, I just remember like Salacious was getting food from Jabba. I swear, let us know.
Maybe Tales of Jabba's Palace from Legends or something like that.
Maybe gosh. Yeah. Anyways, the point is that there's a lot of food. There's a lot of like, I think that there's like a comfy bed somewhere. So yeah, Jabba knows how to live life to the fullest.
He'll take your life, but he knows how to live. He knows to live.
Right.
All right. We're coming down to the end of the conversation here. We've done a good job of bringing up the points, and down below in the comments, or if you're listening on a podcast form, go ahead and post on social media what you think. We want to know your answers. You're going to help decide for us. But there's comforts come up a lot here, Jen. Safety, entertainment, food, the outside of the story, the legacy of them all. It's you can't take away Cantina. It's a Hall of Fame location in Star Wars, but Jabba's Palace is that as well in a lot of its own ways. So what are the final deciding factors here, or factor, that will help make your decision?
Do I want to have the experience of a lifetime? Is really what it comes down to. Is where do I want to be like, oh my gosh, I had the craziest time at Jabba's Palace. You won't believe what I saw. Like, unfortunately, there's something about me where I'm like, I kind of want to experience that, maybe to my own detriment. The Cantina is a place that, people gather. It's a watering hole week after week. You meet up there after your improv class, whatever, right? It's fun. It's reliable.
It's across the street from the ground lanes. It's got a jukebox in it.
Yeah. Good drinks, stiff drinks. But there's something about Jabba's Palace where it's like, well, that's a story to tell.
Okay. That's it. That's the deciding factor.
Is that it? I don't know.
I'll tell you what, you just won me over. Think of it in real world terms here.
Okay.
You're right. I love a good dive bar. I love just a good hotel lobby bar. I love hanging out with my friends. I love hiding in corners. Love people watching. Love some light music in the background. I don't need a big opulent feast. Whatever the bartender's serving and some snacks, I'm good. I have that. I can get that all the time. But this episode's being released during the week of Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con International. I will be down there. I am down there. Time of this episode releasing. I had a great show last night. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Jabba's Palace is a Comic-Con party.
There you go.
It is memorable. It is an experience. I have the stories. It's hard to get in.
Yeah.
And if you're in, one false step, one misstep or false move, you maybe get a little too close to one of the celebrities there, or you get a little drunk and do what I did at a Comic-Con party in 2015, I think, where me and Matt Key accosted Dave Filoni and started telling him how great the Clone Wars series was, and said some disparaging things about the prequels, which he just smiled, but I was hammered. And I think, you could ruin your career. You could really be tossed down into the pit of purgatory and nerddom and figurative rancor will devour you because we stopped getting invited to those parties.
Oh, you don't want to mess with Jabba. Don't want to make him mad.
Mess with Jabba.
You could either be fed to the metaphoric rancor or just not be invited back.
Yep.
That's it. That's it.
Once you're in Jabba's palace, it's an experience. If you survive it, you got the stories to tell. Mm-hmm. I can always go to a cantina. I can't go to a palace. That's why my answer is Jabba's palace. Final answer from you, Jen?
Well, now you just sold me. And now I want to go to Comic-Con. I am not there. But boy, do I have, some stories to tell as well. You hobnob with the celebrities and whatnot, and you never know who you're going to see or what drama is going to go down. And I don't know. I love drama.
Jabba's palace is a house of drama, and it's a memorable one at that. I think we've come to our answer. Spaceport Cantina, Jabba's palace are both great. We're choosing Jabba's palace here today on our 2-member episode of Subjective Wars, but you can help us decide. Leave a comment down below. Tell us not just Jabba's palace or Cantina, but why. Go into that there. And on social media, you know where to find us, ForceCenter Pod. Post, let us know, respond. And if you're in our Discord, that you can get through Patreon, patreon.com/ForceCenter, discuss it there as well. Jen, we're out of here today. I'm still at Comic-Con at the time of this episode, so maybe I'll see you all out there. Where can they find and follow you?
You can find me at home because I won't be at Comic-Con at Jennifer Landa or TikTok at Jennifer Landa 1138.
There you go. Follow me at Ken Napzok or KenNapzok.com. Follow Joseph as well, Joseph Scrimshaw, or go to his website. And there, or mine, you can get information on his big birthday variety show in August 16th. A horror-themed, the Horrors of Aging. A Horror Years Old is the name of it. It's a fun comedy variety show about aging and celebration and comedy. And I'll be on it. Hal Lublin, Audrey Kearns, Laser the Boy, Joseph Scrimshaw. And if you're in LA, you can see it. Or if you're anywhere in the world, you can stream it. Information, like I said, on Joseph's website. Follow us, ForceCenter Pod, like I said, Instagram as well. Thanks for watching on YouTube. If you're here, subscribe, hit that like button, leave a comment down below. And you, as I said, can support us directly at patreon.com/ForceCenter. That's it for this week, Jed. We've done it. We have subjectively decided that we want to die at Jabba's palace. See you next time.